that you as a man will not receive or will not experience a happy, healthy relationship without the dynamic of that woman respecting you.
But if you don't have that conversation, if we don't get to the bottom of how did we even get here? Why did this happen? What decisions were made and what can we do differently moving forward to correct it?
Show who you are as a man. If she don't like you as a man, your character and what you bring to the table, what the hell is the point of having a relationship with her? Now listen, when I say, I just want to make it clear from the jump, when I say you do not or you should not be tolerating any woman's disrespect, please don't take that to mean getting abusive, physical, or disrespectful with a woman. I'm never going to encourage that. I'm never going to tell you guys to behave in a toxic manner to counteract a woman being disrespectful to you. But what I want you to understand is that you as a man will not receive or will not experience a happy, healthy relationship without the dynamic of that woman respecting you. And there's various reasons we can discuss as to why she doesn't respect you. But let me start with this. Number one, you're a yes man. You say yes to everything she wants. Now, I'm sure some of you have heard the saying, happy wife, happy life. And listen, I'm not going to necessarily say that's a bad saying. I am going to say it's a misinterpreted theory or misinterpreted belief, all right? I do believe in making sure your woman is happy, but I don't believe in compromising your true desires, your beliefs, your values, what you find acceptable in order to appease her and make her happy. When you now start to diminish yourself to now allow her to be happier with the outcome, we have a problem. Because in doing that, you start to chip away at your masculine energy. You start to now become a shell of yourself. You now start to lose respect in her eyes because she knows she can run all over you. She knows she can manipulate and control you at any time. You've got to learn how to say no. Now again, we always do this in a respectful manner, but no still has to be said. No still has to be shown with your actions. You still have to draw a line that says, I am not going to accept anything past this line. All right? And so you got to be true to yourself and know who you are as a man to recognize what is valuable to you or what your values truly are so that you understand when she is crossing them, when she is behaving in an unhealthy manner, when she's asking you to do things that you are very uncomfortable with. Now, again, there are going to be sacrifices and adjustments in relationships, but are you losing yourself in the process? You've got to be able to stand strong in who you are, but again, you have to know who you are in order to achieve that. Which brings me to number two. She doesn't respect you because you don't respect yourself. You don't know who you are. You don't value yourself. You don't have high self-worth. And so you may have this mentality of, I'm just lucky to have this woman and I'm going to do everything in my power to hold on to her. But in you trying so hard to hold on to her, you're going to lose her. Even if she does not walk out of that relationship, so to speak, she is going to step out of it with another man. I hate to paint such a negative picture, but I'm here to tell you, as a man, when you don't respect yourself, when she can sense that low self-esteem, at some point down the line, if she stays with you, there's a very good chance she will cheat on you. Because that lack of self-worth becomes unattractive. That lack of self-worth diminishes your masculine energy. And you're going to notice that as a constant theme. And when I speak to you, that masculine energy is extremely important. You cannot sacrifice or you cannot compromise that in your relationship, not in a way that takes you so far away from it. So again, you've got to respect you if you want her to respect you. And you've got to get to a place where your fear of losing her doesn't cause you to lose herself. So I'm going to make that number 3 on this list. You cannot be afraid to lose her more than you're afraid to lose yourself. Listen, you should honor your woman. You should cherish her. You should treat her like a queen. I believe in all of those things. But if she thinks she can do whatever she wants and you will tolerate it, you lost. Relationship done. You might as well walk away now because you're headed down a horrible path. You have to establish an understanding of, I'm going to do my part as a man. I'm going to honor you as my partner. But if you cannot honor me in return, I have no problem with walking away from this relationship. Not because I don't love you, but because I love myself and know that I'm not going to tolerate that unhealthy behavior. I'm not going to tolerate a toxic relationship. I'm not going to tolerate a woman expecting me to diminish myself and lose myself in fear of losing her. No, you both should have an understanding that you have to both do your parts in having this relationship. Now, granted, we're going to have our moments. We're going to sometimes slip up. She's going to have her days where maybe she's off track. So I'm not saying leave at the drop of a dime. What I am saying is, if you've taken all the necessary steps to rectify the issue and nothing is working, you cannot be afraid to walk away. You cannot be afraid to lose her. And if she cannot respect that, then chances are she's not the one for you. Or she is not at a healthy enough place to have a successful relationship with you. And understanding that will help you to maintain what's the word I'm looking for. Just not lose yourself in this situation. All right. Number 4, reason why she does not respect you is because you have not laid out a vision and plan in your life. And so what that really speaks to be honest with you, is you finding your purpose. And you know what? Even if you haven't found your purpose, if you can show a woman that you know where you're trying to go in life and you're willing to put in the work, that you have that vision and plan, she will still respect you. So there's an argument to be made that even outside of purpose, she can respect you if those things are there. But if you want to ensure that those things are in place, find your purpose. Your purpose needs to be your priority. It needs to be the thing that you focus on, whether you are single right now or currently in a relationship with a woman. Your world can't just be her. All right? Your world can't be just trying to please her. Your world has to be finding your way in life, your purpose, and in doing that, she will respect you more. There is a great book by David Deida, I believe he is his name, The Way of the Superior Man. And it talks about to never put your woman over your purpose. And how when you do that, you think you're making her happy. You think you're doing the relationship a favor, but in actuality, you're losing her attraction. You're losing her respect. You're diminishing the relationship because you showed her that you don't stick to your plan and your vision, that you don't have the focus to do what you're supposed to do. If you cannot stick to your own purpose, how can she rely on you to be the man you need to be? So you cannot lose sight of that. So focus on finding yourself, finding your purpose, and putting those things into place. But to simply wrap this whole thing up, listen, again, you've got to establish healthy boundaries in your relationships. You've got to be able to show that you can lead by example with how we're going to communicate, how we're going to better handle these situations. As a man, you have to learn how to be a master over your emotions. When you're an overly emotional man who has lost any kind of poise, any kind of ability to manage yourself properly in those moments, that becomes unattractive. Again, it doesn't mean don't express yourself. You should. It's healthy. It doesn't mean don't allow yourself to have a vulnerable moment. If that happens, let it happen. But don't just always lose control emotionally. All right? Be able to take a step back, process, lead, communicate. Do the things that will foster a healthy relationship. Do the things that show her that unhealthy, toxic behaviors will not be tolerated in this relationship. And when you do these things, you will grow, or you will earn more of her respect, and you will be able to have a greater, healthier, successful relationship. Now, I'm sure there's a lot more other things that we can talk about, but I just want to give you a quick message on this topic of why she doesn't respect you and the things that you can focus on to change that. All right. But I'm going to add one more thing. She doesn't respect you because she's not the one for you. So here's the thing. Listen, sometimes you are the man you need to be. Sometimes you're doing a lot of things right. But what you are missing is the fact that she's not it. She does not belong in your life. She does not fit in your life. She's not the one to walk the path with you. And you've got to be able to accept that. You've got to understand the difference between what you want and what you need. And there's a lot of women you may want, but you don't need them. They're not good for you. And they're not going to be the one that you can have success with in the long term. So recognize when there's no connection there. When your desire for her is based on superficial things or you getting caught up in the hype, but you've got to feel connection. You got to feel peace with this woman. You got to feel the ability to be able to talk to this woman. If that's not there, she's not the one for you. And if she's not the one for you, then you can almost bet that respect at some point is going to go away in that relationship.
Number one, infidelity. We have to understand that there's a lot of different reasons why infidelity happens in a relationship. And it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. For some people, there could be a void in the relationship or neglect that is occurring in the relationship. Now, none of these things that I'm about to explain to you is to validate cheating. It's simply to explain why the infidelity might be occurring. So neglect is one of those things. There is sexual neglect. There is emotional neglect. And these things can have a huge negative impact on a relationship. Some individuals, the void that they're facing is within themselves. And the reality is that they haven't found purpose in life. They haven't found that thing that fulfills them. And so they look for other relationships to make them feel better about who they are. It's kind of an ego booster for them. And that can happen to both men and women. All right. I know that sometimes when we think about infidelity, many people go straight to just men cheating. But the reality is that a lot of women are cheating as well. Some may argue even more than men. I'm not going to say which one I think that is right now, but it definitely happens on both sides. So, like I said, that void within themselves and that lack of purpose and that lack of fulfillment can create problems and open the door to infidelity. And again, those are just a couple things, but there's a lot more to discuss. But what we're talking about here is to stay or to go. And so my answer to that is it depends. All right. You can't just say a blanket statement. If someone cheats, you leave, end of story, that's it. There's so much more to consider there. So let's start with the fact that cheating can be described as various different things. To some people, if your partner or their partner watched porn, they cheated. If they flirted with someone, they may consider that cheating. For others, it may be simply having sexual intercourse. It may be kissing someone. There's various ways people define cheating. It may be having inappropriate conversations, okay? Now, the reason why I'm bringing these up and showing you that there's so many different things to look at is because, again, it's one thing for someone to say, all right, my partner flirted with somebody, all right? And let's say you've been married for 10 years and you're going to just leave them after 10 years because they flirted versus they had sex with someone. Now, again, this isn't to minimize the inappropriate behavior. It isn't to make it okay. It's to simply say we have to put things into proper perspective if we're trying to determine if you should stay or you should go. But let's go beyond that. One of the big reasons why I tell people it depends is because cheating sometimes or infidelity is the symptom of two people who should have never been together in the first place. All right. Some people are getting into wrong relationships with the wrong person. And in my opinion, cheating is inevitable there. It's going to at some point happen. It may be months, it may be years, but it's going to come. And again, it was set up because you're with the wrong person. Now, on the flip side, for other individuals, infidelity may be a symptom of something being broken in the relationship. So you could have two people who truly are good for each other, who truly can achieve and experience an amazing, healthy relationship. But somewhere along the line, something went left. Something went wrong, and then the door opened, and unfortunately, someone walked through that door of infidelity. Now, again, that doesn't make it okay. But in that situation, this is something that can be fixed. And we can now look at how to correct it, because it's not just about the infidelity in that relationship. Let's evaluate the overall relationship. So for example, if someone comes to me and says, hey, my partner cheated on me, I don't know what to do. Should I leave her go? One of my questions was, how was the relationship overall? Like, if you had a dysfunctional, toxic relationship before cheating ever even occurred, then forget that they cheated. You should have left because it was toxic and unhealthy to begin with. Like, that's the real issue. The infidelity is just a symptom of that. It's just a manifestation of all the brokenness in that relationship. Now, on the flip side, if someone comes to me and says, well, when I ask that question and they say, well, the relationship has been great, it's been amazing, at least to your perception of things. But then again, something went wrong. Maybe somebody went out, and I'm just giving this as an example. Someone went out with friends, they had too much to drink, and they end up kissing someone that night. Again, I have to repeat, this is not making it okay. I am not trying to validate, but I'm giving you an example which has happened. It's happened in many people's lives. And this is a situation where we can fix this. All right, this can be viewed as a mistake, as an accident, as a horrible one-time decision, but it's not a representation of the overall quality of the relationship. So we have to start digging deeper and start looking at the big picture when we're going to determine if you're going to stay or if you're going to leave after infidelity has occurred. Also, let me say this now. Let's say you're going to stay. One of the biggest mistakes people make in staying after infidelity is not addressing the root cause of the infidelity. So if someone cheats on you and they say, I'm sorry, please take me back, let's just make this work, right? And you take them back, but you never, one, heal from them cheating on you, and you never addressed why it happened. So in the example I just gave, the person went out, they drank too much, they were probably around the wrong people, boom, something wrong went down. So, okay, how do we correct that moving forward? The root issue is, okay, alcohol, too much alcohol, or hanging out in certain environments, we can't do that going forward. Clearly, it's too risky. We need to leave that alone. That's how we can start to address some of the root causes, okay? But if you don't have that conversation, if we don't get to the bottom of how did we even get here? Why did this happen? What decisions were made and what can we do differently moving forward to correct this, then you're defeating the purpose of staying. Because if you don't address these issues, I can assure you infidelity will happen again. All right. So you have to be mindful of that. And we can't just get back together for the sake of getting back together. We've got to correct things. We've got to fix things. We got to talk it out. So again, there's just so much that we can unpack with the infidelity and in answering the question, should you stay or you should go? Let me throw something else at you. Is this a reoccurring theme already? Like, so you may now be at this point of questioning what to do and be at your breaking point, but this may have been after maybe several instances of infidelity in your relationship, several instances from your partner. For some of you, it may be infidelity on both sides. They cheated, you cheated, you're not sure. Maybe you're thinking, well, I should just keep going because I've done the cheating too. There's a lot to consider, but I would say this. If it is repeat behavior on their end and you have not engaged in such behavior, then again, this is a huge factor in determining if we're going to stay or we should go. Because if we've already tried to fix this, if we've already discussed the deeper issues, and this individual has shown an unwillingness to make changes, to start to behave properly in this relationship and end this negative cycle of infidelity, then it's time to go. Because at that point, the only thing that might wake them up is a real consequence, and that's the consequence of you walking away. Losing you might be the only thing that finally makes them say, man, I messed up. But even then, that doesn't mean you're supposed to get them back. So I'd say it all the time. Some people don't realize what they have until it's gone, but that doesn't mean they're supposed to get it back. But again, for you to understand what you need to do going forward, we got to get to the root issues. We got to look at the bigger picture. There's so much more to talk about. But if you are a believer, let me just throw one more thing at you. Pray about it. And I know that sounds real simple and that may not be as easy for everybody. But when you are conflicted in life, when you don't know which way to go, going to God is one of the best things that you can do. Now, some people may say, listen, if somebody cheated on you, of course God's going to tell you walk away. That's not necessarily always true because, again, there's a bigger picture to this. There's a lot more factors we have to consider. It's not always that simple. It's not always that black and white. But go to God and trust your intuition as well. All right, trust your spirit talking to you because you need that discernment in those moments where you're not sure how to handle things and which way to go. So, as I said earlier, there's a lot more we can unpack. There's a lot more we can discuss, but I want to get the conversation moving on this topic. Infidelity, to stay or to go. Leave your...
But let's get into it. Don't go broke trying to date her. Now listen, the reason why I was even inspired to do this video is because I heard a story from my boy Hafiz from the Roommates podcast. And he told me about this guy who was going on these dates, trying so hard to financially keep up with what he felt the woman he was dating wanted to see, that this dude was putting himself in a financial hole trying to date this woman, all right? And he got her. He got her. They got in a relationship, and guess what? He's still spending the money, but at some point, he started running out of the money, all right? And the whole situation blew up in his face. And so I know there's a lot of men out there who are reaching deep in their pockets, and it might be you, trying to impress women, feeling like you've got to spend money in order to get her attention, in order for her to like you, and all these things. And I'm here to tell you, stop. Stop right now. Do not go broke trying to date her. Listen, let me make something very clear to you. When a woman truly is into you, she is not as focused on your money as you think. Now, let me clarify what I'm saying here. I always say women care about financial stability, and they do desire that in a man. However, when a woman is dating a guy and getting to know him, though she wants to know he's financially stable, she's not as focused on how much he's spending when she really likes the guy. All right? So this reminds me of one time I was on tour, and I forgot what city it was in, but this woman was telling me about how, these guys don't know how to date. This guy took her to some, I can't remember what it was, but it was like some simple, it was a very cheap date. I'm just going to tell you right now. It was a very cheap date, all right? And she was frustrated about the whole thing. And I said, well, listen, I think if you really liked him, you wouldn't have cared. If you really liked him, you would have been happy with a walk in the park. You would have been happy with an ice cream date. You would have been happy with a coffee date. Like when a woman is excited about the man she just met and getting to know that man for who he is, or maybe she already knows some things about you, she's happy to spend time with you. She's happy that you're giving her attention and pouring into her. She's happy that you're showing her respect, love, and that you're making an effort. Again, it doesn't mean that finances has no place or she's not considering that in the process, but that is not her focus. So when you are finding yourself dealing with a woman who's putting a greater emphasis on how much you're spending, that woman does not truly, or she's not truly into you. I was gonna say that woman doesn't really love you, but listen, she's just dating you, so she can't just love you yet anyway. So she's not really about you. She's probably just going on a date with you just to entertain it. She ain't got nothing better to do. She's like, I'm gonna give this guy a chance. And because of that, she needs the money coming out of your pocket to validate her being there. She needs to see that to feel like she wants to continue entertaining you. But if she was really into you, that would not be a problem. But let's put her to the side for a second and let's put the focus back on you. Here's the thing. Don't start how you can't finish, all right? I always say, why the hell are some of y'all taking this woman to a 5-star restaurant knowing damn well all you can afford is some Popeyes and Hennessy, all right? Like, bruh, you ain't got 5-star restaurant money, but you're gonna sit there and scrape up every last dollar you can because you feel like you gotta impress this woman in order for her to like you. But at some point, she's going to see you ain't got it. And since you have now conditioned her early on to think that you have this money or that you live this certain lifestyle, now when you cannot keep it there, you create a bigger problem. Start how you can finish. Now, granted, you can always upgrade later, all right? If you only have a simple date money, if you only have coffee date, ice cream date money right now, then be that. Let that be the case, all right? Because you can always improve your finances and later on take it to the expensive restaurant or trips or whatever you want. But don't start that way when you currently can't finish that way. That's a setup for disaster every single time. Not to mention, you should not be trying to win a woman over with your money. Again, there's nothing wrong. I want you all men to understand this. There's nothing wrong with a woman desiring financial stability in a man. There's nothing wrong with her having a certain financial desire because we have our own desires as men. There's nothing wrong with that. But you should not be trying to win her love and attention with money. All right? Money should be the icing on the cake. It should be the extra benefit that you provide, but it should not be what represents you. It should not be how you define yourself. And this is how a lot of men find themselves in situations where they're talking about, well, these women only want you for your money. Nah, bruh, it's because you bring nothing else to the table. It's because you led with your money. How are you going to sit there and promote your money, whether it be showing it off on the internet or, again, going all out initially while you're dating her, and then you mad because she's focusing on your money? You was focused on the money. You put the highlight on there. Stop doing that. Put the highlight on you. Show who you are as a man. If she don't like you as a man, your character and what you bring to the table, what the hell is the point of having a relationship with her? What are you really trying to do here? Now listen, if you're just trying to sleep with a woman, and I am not condoning that, I am not promoting that, but I'm just saying, if your goal is to sleep with her, that's one thing. Again, I do not think that's the right thing to do, but that is your choice as an adult, all right? But this is about having healthy relationships and having more successful dating. And if that's the case, then again, you don't need to be putting such a focus on the money. That should be bonus, all right? And so to do that, you really have to ask yourself, what do I bring to the table outside of finances? And how do I build my confidence to feel that I can win her over without shelling out a bunch of money? All right? Because again, even though there are plenty of women who want financial stability or want a man who's well off, all right? When you have the kind of character, personality, once you get in that door, because if she's going on a date with you, that means she already has either convinced herself to give you a chance or she actually likes you. It's one or the other. Or again, she could just be bored. So that's the other thing. But either way, your foot's already in the door. And with your foot in the door, if your personality, your character, and what you bring to the table as a man is strong enough, you will still win. But if not, and you lean on your money, you will lose. So again, don't go broke trying to date her. But listen, here's another aspect you got to consider. That money can be better spent somewhere else. No disrespect to the women, bruh, you got to understand, you over here spending all this money on dates and women, you ain't got your own house. You ain't got investments. You don't have a setup financially to advance your life further. You haven't invested in yourself, in your business, in your purpose. Like, why are you taking your resources and trying to use it to win over a woman when that's not even a great foundation for a relationship? You got to get your priorities in order, and you got to make sure you're spending your money in the right places. Now, listen, if you make enough money where you can take care of all those things I just mentioned and still spend money on your dates and this woman, and that's what you want to do, cool. But again, make sure you're not letting that money define you. Make sure you're not spoiling her or conditioning her to a certain lifestyle you cannot continue to maintain. And make sure you're not scapegoating your money. All right? Do not let your money be what represents the quality man that you are or should be striving to be. You got to work on you and let yourself shine. And again, let that money be an added bonus to the whole situation. And so even if she is drawn to you because she knows you are successful or heard or has an idea of your success or financial position, she should only want to be with you because of who you are as a man, not because of what you have in your pockets. So again, don't go broke trying to date her. Understand if that woman is really into you, you won't need to. Because here's the last thing I have to mention. The woman who really is into you ain't trying to make it all about your money. And what I mean by that is when she really likes you, she now is concerning herself with, I don't want to come off looking a certain way. I don't want him to think I'm all about his money. So she becomes a little bit more mindful of how she behaves when it comes to money and how you're spending and all these things. Hell, if she's really into you, and if it graduates to where she loves you, she's going to want you to also be mindful of your money to a certain extent. She's going to want to make sure you're not just throwing it all away on dumb stuff because she cares about you. But when she doesn't, she's going to let you come out your pocket, go broke, and not give a damn because it's all about her. So be mindful of that. Don't put yourself in that bad position and know that you don't need to when that woman is someone that you can genuinely be with, because when there's a real connection there, and if you watch any of my other videos, you know I'm big on connection. When there's a real connection there, that money is not the primary focus, and it shouldn't be, ever. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Sorry to say, but in a lot of these situations, I'm not saying all, but in a lot of them, it wasn't as if she truly fell in love with this man because his chase showed her so much. It's that she realized, I don't really have a better